Hello everyone, JAK SYN here on behalf of Fiend.com and Future Daze, and today it is another exciting episode of Artist Interviews. Today I am sitting with Electrish and Eddie of Static Realms. How you two doing today?
Great, how are you?
Yeah, we are doing magical.
Thank you for having us.
Well, I'm so glad that you guys could be on the show today and talk about all the amazing stuff going on with you guys. It's so great to see you guys in person. I feel like I'm getting this connection with you guys. You know what I mean?
We can almost touch each other through the screen, so give me a high five right there.
High five right there. There we go. High five. So how are things going in your guys' neck of the woods? Like, what's new where you guys are at?
Yeah, everything over here is doing pretty good, doing pretty well. We are just keeping busy and we are working on as much creative content as we possibly can and just having fun on the way. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's a key thing is to keep it fun. You know, once we start getting bored, we're like, okay, we got to add a new element to the show, which we kind of did on our latest stream, which is we're actually doing a live interview with artists, and we're showing their music videos along the way. And then we show the Static Realms Music Hour, which people have been used to be watching. So yeah, new elements, new fun.
Now that is pretty awesome. Adding those new elements keeps it fresh and lively. I love it. I love it. I mean, you guys have such a great format. So today we're going to ask you a couple of questions and see where it goes from here. You guys ready to get into it?
Ask away.
So tell us about yourselves in Static Realms.
So yes, I'm Eddie Lovecraft, and I just had an idea of, mainly on COVID. There was nothing I could film, nothing to do, and I was like, what's the best, safest thing that I can do without having to go out there to the clubs and whatnot. And luckily I knew Electrish from the cosplay scene, and I was like, you have bangs. Bangs looks 80s. We have to do this synthwave 80s show, Static Realms Music Hour, where we can do it, on Twitch, on YouTube, and we can get out there. And so it basically built a whole new show, and that's how Static Realms was created. Thank you, COVID, but no thank you for all the bad things you're doing.
Yeah, so when I first started speaking with Eddie about Static Realms, I had seen Static Realms in the past, and I loved the style. I loved the show. I was already a fan of what he was doing in the past with Static Realms, and he asked me if I wanted to be the host because I had a cool look and I was into the same music, but I didn't really think I could take that on because I'd never done anything like that. But as he said, we're in COVID and we don't really have a way to get out and do things. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. And I remember the first time we ever filmed, I had a blast. We had so much fun. I was like, I'm doing this. This is what I'm going to do.
Well, that is so awesome. And it's funny that we talk about that right now, about COVID, right? It's like this post, I mean, it's not really post-COVID world, but it is the current COVID world that we're in. And I think for a lot of creative people, artists, musicians, directors, filmmakers, writers, everybody's finding that little outlet to get that creativity out. You guys really pushing out that awesome format, like with the interview and the interviewee, and then plus playing all those awesome music videos, playing all that music, having the live chat, getting the fans involved. Like that's always really, really great because you're bridging that connection, between artist and fan, and also too, it's like with everything going on, people need that little bit of hope, that little bit of creative hope, if you will, to show that, hey, you know what? I can be creative too. I can kind of let my opinions and my voice be heard about some of these awesome artists, that are out there too. So I think it's really great that you guys are really pushing that format to the forefront.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's for us, it's kind of reminiscent of the days when we would be watching MTV and the good old days when MTV actually played decent music and music videos. So, it's the same sense of a feeling where you can watch videos and see artists you've never heard of or listened to and really get excited about music again. And for me, that's so important, especially now.
I definitely get that when I see you guys' show. I definitely get that because it's like, you're right, it is the MTV that used to be. You know what I mean? Like what MTV used to be. And it's like back when MTV was music television. I mean, I don't know what the M stands for now. I know it's just television pretty much now. It's very like, true to life television documentary kind of stuff. But I feel like, you know, that whole concept of how it used to be back in the 80s and 90s, it's just that great concept, like between artist and interviewer and bringing the fans together. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird how that disappeared, and it's taken like so many years until now that we have Twitch and, you know, YouTube. It's like when we're finally like getting back our childhood. It's back now, and we have a way to present it since MTV dropped the ball, unfortunately. But hey, I'm having fun with it, and we're gonna continue to, you know, experiment in this world of synthwave and music and anything else.
I'm all about that right there for sure. What are 3 of your favorite moments from your creative career?
So from my personal experience in my creative career, I would have to say that starting out, I was a cosplayer primarily, going to conventions, meeting people, just constantly working on new cosplays. And just, I was so immersed in that world that I had never really gotten into the cliche type of cosplay where I would have a booth at a convention and I would, you know, sell prints and do everything like that. I kind of just did my own thing. But the more that I did it, the more that people recognized who I was and actually approached me and wanted to work with me and just were such fans of what I was doing. So for me, that was a great moment, and it led me to other things. It led me to meeting this guy, and it led me to Static Realms, which is great because, you know, other than cosplay, I'm extremely immersed in the world of music as a fan, and being able to speak to the artists, you know, being able to interview people like Tim Capello was just next level for me. He made me laugh. I was, you know, I kind of was like crushing on him. It was just so much fun.
You still got it.
Yeah, he's like this person I never thought I would speak to, you know, but I was able to and get to know him, and it was so much fun. And then I think the third thing for me is just connecting with music and with artists that are throughout the world right now, which, I mean, earlier we were talking about how important that is, you know, to have that connection, and music does connect people. So for me, it's just, it's such a great experience to be on the show.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Thanks.
And on my part, you know, I guess my first love of what I've done on my creative process was the show Not So Serious Show, which I found with my buddy Jim. So he goes by the name Jim Dexstar, and that's, I know. And we did a cosplay comic book show. So we would go to the conventions, interview the cosplayers, and that's how we did meet Electrish over here. And from there, you know, I wanted to do something that was outside of that community, and I always had the love for 80s movies, 80s music, and I'm an 80s kid, so, you know, it's all about cartoons, movies, and MTV and VH1. That's all I did, and I think that's brainwashed me into that got me into what you call Static Realms, and Static Realms is my second love of my creative world. And, you know, it was based off of recapping 80s movies that I love from, you know, RoboCop, like the shirt I'm wearing right now. Also, you know, we did like Fright Night, all these 80s movies that I really loved. And then we were open to the world of synthwave, which just really fits into that world. And luckily, because of the cosplay community, Electrish was there, and we became one and the same on the show. And my last thing that I really have enjoyed on the creative process has been my work that I do for Submission South Beach. So JAK SYN, you might like this because it's, you know, it's the fetish scene. So scandalous. So it's, you know, industrial music, you know, that all that kind of music. And I know that I've heard your latest album, your latest song, and it definitely fits that world. So the great thing is that you go to one of those events, and I'm their videographer. So it's like watching a music video unfold at the club. So there's so much good material when I have my camera around. But unfortunately, I'm not able to do that as well because I'm, you know, practicing very safe COVID things. So I'm not going until the vaccines are largely available.
Especially to a fetish club. You don't want to go there unless, you know there's a vaccine in order. Just saying.
Definitely right. You guys are definitely right, you know.
To anyone watching, please practice safe clubbing when you can.
You're exactly right. Please practice safe clubbing when you can. You know, being able to go to these clubs, you know, these gothy fetishy, like electronic industrial clubs. I mean, yes, I miss that. You know, like we have, you know, a lot of awesome clubs here in Los Angeles that play a lot of this awesome music too. You know, and yeah, I miss going there. I miss being able to, you know, talk with friends, you know, reconnect with people, you know, but everybody's feeling the same, that collective same way, you know, like being, you know, stay safe, like be sure to keep the social distancing. Now, granted, there are some underground parties happening here and there that you hear about before they get broken up, you know, by the cops. But for the most part, people are staying pretty safe. And that you're right, that is really important, especially being in a crowd with people. Going back to some of your guys' earlier things that you were talking about, like your awesome memories from your creative career, you know, for you, Electrish, that's actually pretty cool. I mean, you're like being a cosplayer, you know what I mean? That I'm sure is such an amazingly large world to get involved with. I mean, me personally, like I've been to a few cons. I've never been to Comic-Con, like ever. I have not been to Comic-Con, but from everything that I've ever seen through Comic-Con, it's always, you know, you have a lot of cosplayers, a lot of people are really into that stuff. You know, me personally, I am a huge fan of Resident Evil, hands down. One of the biggest fans of Resident Evil, and I've done a few Resident Evil parties in the past where I've managed to decorate, have people come and cosplay and all that stuff. So that's pretty much my extent to the cosplay world. You know what I mean? Anytime I can do something involved with Resident Evil or do a themed event, I'm all about it. Yeah. But I know for you, you're kind of like, I've seen some of your cosplays online, but I noticed you're kind of geared towards that Spider-Man universe, that Spider-Verse. You know, you have a lot of like different cosplay you do from that. So kind of like, what's that inspiration like for you? Is you just a big fan of the Spider-Man universe?
Yes, so I am a big fan of Spider-Man, favorite comic book character, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. And it sort of just grew from there. When I was a kid, I was reading comics, and as I got older, I was still reading comics. And then as I got a little older, I was dressing up in suits and dressing up as the characters. And you start with one, you like it, you enjoy it, and then it becomes this hobby, and it becomes a passion, and then it becomes part of your everyday life. So yeah, I try to incorporate it when I can into Static Realms because I am always thinking about wearing a costume of some kind. So it's a lot of fun, and I just enjoy it so much. There's just something really amazing about dressing up as a character that, you know, you've seen on a page that you love and then becoming that character. It's just a blast.
So awesome. I mean, and you, Eddie, you know, like you getting into all of those amazing visuals and having such great production background, you know what I mean? Like, where did that kind of come from? You just I know what you're talking about because you're a big fan of MTV and VH1 and cartoons and all that, the 80s and 90s. You know, I'm an 80s baby as well, born in 1986. To everybody out there, if you guys didn't know that, I was born in 1986. So I guarantee I'm older than most of you guys out there watching. Or maybe I'm not, but I can totally agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, I am a huge fan of that stuff. Transformers, like Robotech, you know, like RoboCop, Predator, you know, all of those amazing, like science fiction-y, action-y movies.
Yeah, good time.
Exactly. And you know what's funny is that those movies that inspire us today are probably some of the most violent movies ever made in human history. You know what I mean?
But all of us were smiling as kids. We're like, this is rocking. Arnold Schwarzenegger just killed 20 people in 2 seconds. Rocking.
I just think that that's so great. I can really connect with you on that because, you know, me being a young kid, it's like I was a huge fan of playing with Legos and stuff like that. So it was like anytime I would see a movie, I try to emulate it with Legos or draw a picture or something like that. So I think that's where a lot of influences that I have today kind of came from. Am I right?
Yeah, well, we can tell that if you were playing with Legos, it means that you were creative from the get-go. So it makes sense why you do so many things from your interviews and also your DJing and music. So Legos has a lot to say.
Legos do have a lot to say. And to everybody out there, if you have ever played with Legos, you know what we're talking about here. You know exactly what we're talking about.
But yes, you're asking the question of like how I got into the creative field. Well, you know, I was one of those people that I always had ideas, you know, growing up, and I would like show my friends my ideas, and they'd be like, that sucks, man. you suck. And I would actually, put music together or try to like film something with what I can't, my parents' camcorder. And no one really liked my my type of humor or what I was trying to do. For all I know, they could have been hating, who knows, or maybe I just wasn't that good at the time. Either way, I let a lot of time go by, and in my 30s, which I would say probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I finally said, you know what, I have too many ideas. I'm not enjoying just working a 9 to 5. I'm gonna do a show. I jumped right into the show. I didn't know about cameras or anything, and luckily my friend Jim Dexstar, he had a camera. He had bought a Canon 5D, and so I was like, you can film with that thing, right? And he's like, yeah. So we just started playing with it. A week later, we started our show, which was the Not So Serious show, which we also show all the Static Realms videos in there as well on the YouTube channel, Not So Serious show. And we just started getting into comic books and cosplay, and we just kept playing around until we figured out how to get really good at it. And from there, I just been pushing forward. So there's no training. It's just, my passion. And I just mess with it until I figure it out.
That's pretty awesome right there. I'll tell you that. We all got to start somewhere. We all got to start somewhere. I know for me, as far as music goes, it was like had a little tape recorder when I was younger. Press play, record all that you can record. Do it in your bedroom, play with sounds, all that kind of stuff. You start somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people go, how are you trained? Like, what did you go to school for? And you kind of go, well, I didn't really go to school. I just kind of learned as I went. That's how most creative people are. They just kind of learn as you go,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the best thing to take out of this is that, I decided to pursue what I like to do by not listening to anybody. If someone told me that it sucked, I don't care. I like it. If I'm my only fan, that's good enough for me. And, luckily it seems that it's, me pushing has gotten other people to enjoy my work as well, and Electrish also.
Yeah, I think it's really important when you are creative to just keep going, because the more that you do, the more that you experiment with, sort of just cameras, editing, cosplay, the more that you do, the more ideas that will stem from that. And so you get the creative ideas flowing and you just get into the zone, if you will, and then beautiful things happen. So I think it's exactly what he said. Just whatever anyone says, if you enjoy it, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you enjoy doing it, keep doing it. And if anybody ever tells you that it sucks, you turn to them and you point them in the face and go, you suck.
I like that.
How did you guys' creative journey begin, and what has it been like?
Okay, so my creative journey began when I was in high school, really, and I was kind of experimenting with going to theme parties that my friends were having and dressing up in themed costumes, but they weren't really comic related or character related at that point. But I've always been a very, how can I put this, outrageous kind of person where if someone invites me to a Halloween party, I'm going to dress really, really scary and everyone won't recognize me. So I've always enjoyed that part of it, just going all out, if you will, whenever possible. It's so much fun for me. So whenever I started cosplaying, it just sort of came naturally to me to keep doing it and do more with it. So the more and more that I did that, the more I just built things from that and just created more things. So it just became, like I said before, an everyday part of my life. So when people tell me that they look up to me and that they enjoy what I'm doing, I'm kind of shocked at first, but then I'm really, really just honored that someone would think that about me. So I just keep doing it because I enjoy it. So
yeah, and it's really funny that she says that, she goes all out on her outfits for whatever the situation is, which makes it incredible for me as behind the scenes. I'm like, hey, we're doing a cyberpunk episode. What do you got in your closet? Boom, 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 boom. All right, you're an android. Let's make an episode out of it.
Yeah. Luckily, I had like 4 different robot cosplays that I was like working on at the time, and I'm like, this one or this one, or maybe all of them.
Yeah, well, that's the incredible thing. Like, she should definitely share her closet, because I can just close my eyes, grab something, and be like, all right, we're gonna do this episode based on this thing I grabbed. So it's definitely a good thing. Cosplayers have everything.
That, you know, that is very, very true. That right there is very, very true. I have this question to ask you, Electrish.
Sure.
How much money do you spend on hot glue? Do you have a lot of hot glue hanging around?
So hot glue is like the #1 thing that cosplayers run out of. So you got to keep like a whole barrel of that stuff. So I have tons of hot glue. I have 2 hot glue guns because one of them I left on for too long and it kind of like burns me every time I try to use it now. So yeah, definitely a lot of hot glue. A lot of sewing, a lot of painting, a lot of pain and agony, but it's worth it.
Exactly, exactly. It really is worth it. I remember the last time I worked with a hot glue gun, it was some years ago when I actually really hardcore worked with it. I was doing this, we had done this Marilyn Manson like themed night where we played all of Marilyn Manson's music. You know, this was like, I think like maybe about 7 years ago. And I made a Macaroni Manson. I built a Marilyn Manson out of macaroni. That was from Mechanical Animals. It was a Mechanical Animals Marilyn Manson. I called it the Macaroni Manson. I don't have a picture of it, and I wish I do.
So it had macaroni breasts?
Yeah, pretty much, and armor.
That's hilarious.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, Manson is getting like Me Too to the end of time right now. So
that's true.
Once we all enjoyed him, but now we got to say bye to him.
Yeah, well, you know what? Hey, I believe that things will get worked out in due course, and that things that are coming to light now will be exposed, of course, and due process will come.
Yeah, but you can't deny some great music. Some great music.
Yeah.
That's definitely right. My favorite album, of course, will always be Mechanical Animals. I love that album. Just hands down my favorite.
It's a great album.
What was the inspiration behind building Static Realms, and what's next for you guys?
Yeah, the inspiration is just, you know, a lot of my childhood just being stuck on the tube, you know, the VH1, MTV2, MTV, all those goodies. Does anybody remember the, what was the other one? The box? What's it called? The box?
I don't know. The box.
There's another one that you would pay money to get the video you wanted to pop in. It might be a Miami thing. It might not be out in other places, but you would pay money to get the video for them to play it. So you'd be like, I want to buy Gravity Kills. And then you'd wait like 5 hours later and they finally play it. And you'd be like, yeah, it's totally worth my $10, me sticking here for 5 hours. So I guess just all those essentials just, you know, really built Static Realms world. And like I said, movies, music, and the synthwave community has even pushed it a lot farther than I ever thought it would ever go.
And so for me, just to kind of piggyback off what he said, I was very inspired by the idea behind Static Realms Music Hour, being reminiscent of an MTV style show where the VJ was actually me. And I just kind of put my own flair on it, and just, he always says, just be yourself. And I'm like, I was nervous at first, but I think the more that I've been doing it, the more that I can put that into it. And it's just so much fun now. And I feel like it's just a part of my everyday life just as much as cosplay now. So it's great.
That is very true. You do have to be yourself. You have to be who you are, true to yourself inside. You know, and that's the great thing about this synthwave community is that the people that I've come in contact with over a number of years, like being involved with this scene, you get a lot of real people. Like a lot of real people, you know, a lot of positive people. I mean, yes, there are some people who, you know, might be a little negative or maybe a little bit, you know, maybe not judgmental, but very opinionated. We do know that a lot of the fans out there are very opinionated sometimes, you see. But all in all, they're very genuine and very kind and very personable. And that's what I think is great. I mean, the artists are the same way too. I mean, you can talk to these artists and they're very approachable. Very approachable. They're feeling a lot of the same way that you guys are talking about, like where, oh my God, somebody just recognized me for making awesome music and I helped inspire their day. That's so amazing. I'm a little taken back, but I like it. And I think that's what's so great about this scene is that there's a lot of love and it's a big rainbow of people. You get people from all different walks of life. People who have different musical style backgrounds coming to these events, tuning into these live streams, tuning in to watch these interviews, who are just really just this big collective of wonderful people, if you will.
Yeah.
And so very talented as well. So the fact that people like you and people like us, the fact that we can showcase what these artists are doing and what they're capable of, and actually speak with them directly and talk with them and get to know them a little bit better. I think that's so rewarding for everyone involved, the artists, the creators, the fans, everybody, because, you know, you can't really get that a lot outside of, you know, going to a show or you know, an event. So right now it's a great feeling to know that the artists appreciate what we're doing and that we appreciate the artists enough to keep doing it. So
Right. And I was going to say that I completely agree with this whole statement that the community is just wonderful. They're everyone's easy, they're approachable, easy to talk to. And when I was getting Electrish into this community, I was like, okay, this is the show. This is, you know, how I wanted to go through. And she's just like, how are we going to get the artists? I'm like, easy. We just message them. And she's like, is it that? It's like, it can't be that easy. And I'm like, trust me. I'm like, trust me. The Synthwave community is just that nice. You know, they're very easygoing. It's not like unfortunately, not like the cosplay community where everybody's like, oh, well, how many followers do you have?
mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you know, over here, it's just like they look at what talents you can bring and, you know, and who you know, just working good together. So that's what I like about it. And I can't say anything else. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, that right there, everybody out there who's an artist in this scene or a fan in this scene, you guys are what drives this music. You really are. Because the music wouldn't be progressing the way it's progressing without you guys. Because of your enthusiasm, your creativity, your desire to want to help, to want to be creative in this space is what is helping to drive it forward and helping it to seep into all different aspects of culture, of pop culture, if you will. I mean, you can't turn on a TV show or listen to something and not hear that little bit of influence there.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's just great. I mean, and throughout this pandemic, one of the things I've really loved seeing is that people are really stepping up during all of this. They're being very creative. You guys are thinking of different formats. Like you guys are thinking of this amazing format where you're blending the love of cosplay and interviews and themes and effects and all of that stuff all together. Like we're talking about the MTV aspect, you know, but blending that all together and kind of creating this neat little package that is what you guys are doing. And it's a really great asset that's really helping to push it forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do work hard, and it like I said before, it's always worth it for us because it's so rewarding when people say things like you just said and actually take the time to appreciate it and watch it. It's great. It's kind of like hanging out and watching something great on TV, you know, just like we used to. So
yeah, that's actually why we called the new segment. It's called Static Realms Hangouts, because we just want to hang out with the fans, you know, hang out with the guest of honor of that day, and just how I would say, just shoot the shit. I don't know if I could say that, but just shoot the shit and just watch music videos together, just like we used to do in person when we were kids and teenagers.
Yeah,
exactly. Shooting the shit. That right there is what is important, especially now, because having that human connection, that's what we need more than anything. Because every day, don't get me wrong, getting up some days is kind of hard. It really is. Finding that motivation some days is kind of hard. But everybody out there, hang on to something. Hang on to something. Look forward to something. Just keep working. Keep working at whatever you want to work at. You'll really go some amazing places. You really will. Help to spread a little bit of hope out there and a little bit of joy to some people who might need it.
absolutely.
What positive message would you give your fans out there?
My positive message for fans would be just remember that music is for everyone. It's a gift that we all have, and share it, listen to it, feel it, tell your friends about it, enjoy it, dance, enjoy your life, and just be yourself, because there's only one you. And you may not think much of that, but everyone is unique in their own special way. And I think that music is something that is timeless and we can all enjoy together. So it's really special to be able to be who you are and to enjoy music together.
And yeah, I can't top that. I'm gonna leave it with that answer, you know, and keep it syntastic.
Right there, everybody. Wise words from Eddie and Electrish. I'm telling you, music is important. It is a universal language. You are absolutely right. If we all just sit back and let go and give into the music, give into the mood, give into the feeling, we will go on amazing journeys. To everybody out there, keep pushing every single day. Keep working as hard as you can. If you stay creative and you keep building, you will really go to some amazing places. You can reach new heights. It's there. It's right in front of you. If you have something that you want to achieve, something that you want to accomplish, you can do it. And if people try to get you down, if people try to tell you you can't do this or that's stupid or that's dumb, like we said earlier, you look them in the eye and say, you're dumb, you're stupid. You can't tell me what I can and can't do. If you want to cosplay, cosplay. If you want to go out there and create your own interview show, make your own interview show. If you want to go out there and make music, go and do it. The sky is the limit. You know, we are human beings and we have brains, and our brains can create some of the most amazing things if we just, I guess, if you will, put your mind to it. There you go.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, when us talking about this, you know, follow your dreams, basically. I thought of the perfect band name while we were having this conversation, and it's for the haters, the Dream Killers. Isn't that synthwave as hell?
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, yeah, that's pretty dark synth.
Copywriting that, you know.
Right here. You heard it first right here on the show, you guys. You heard it first right here, Dream Killers. But I want to say thank you guys so much for sitting down today and doing this interview. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch us have this conversation. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our Fiend YouTube channel, as we have many more awesome artist interviews on the way, just like this one with Electrish and Eddie of Static Realms. Thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you guys again very, very soon.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Such a pleasure, Jackson. Thank you.
Give us one last fist bump.
Fist bump right there. Boom. Boom. I love it. I love it. And I look forward to seeing you guys' next episode when it comes out very, very soon. To everybody out there, if you guys haven't checked out Static Realms, go and check them out when they do their events and they do the live streams and they chat with the artists. This is some really amazing stuff with really good quality format. And I'm telling you, from this guy to you guys, top-notch stuff. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you again soon.